Continuing with the second chapter on the I am and the principle of society, in this video I want to speak about some of the implications that this concept truly holds. In the previous videos I spoke about how you could argue that Jesus was crazy, as we've seen some of his behavior and things he was saying associated to some of the new ideas regarding mental illness. And there's even a term that I described on the previous video called mental psychosis, which explains this idea of one merging with the all, and is of course classified as a mental illness or some sort of disorder, but there might be something else to it, as this is a core in religions. And as I've said in the new evidence coming from the research on altered states of mind, OBEs, DMT, near-death experiences, etc. As I spoke about in the previous video, it seems that that entity which appeared to Moses, quote unquote, was some form of his higher self, some entity defined as the I am. And this is the principle of society, this first motor of creation, the beginner, what was before whatever was. This is the main emanation of consciousness, if we think about it. Speaking about these topics, it's still a bit confusing. So when I say pure consciousness, what I mean is exactly what it sounds like. When I say pure, the adjective of purity means to be refined, to be without anything else, to be concise. So if we are speaking about us as humans, what are we? We could argue that we are soul, mind, and body, but let's just go with the materialist look on things and say that we are mind and body. If we think about consciousness, what is consciousness? Consciousness is any and every cognitive process, your thinking, your memories, everything that involves that act of being aware of yourself, of others, and the world around you. That is consciousness. And everything you can think, everything you can process from that experience of being aware through your senses, through your sight, through your touch, through your smell. You're seeing a world around you. What else are you perceiving? You're having emotions based on the things that are happening around you usually. And an interesting thing to note is that we can have emotions merely by our thoughts. When something bad happens to us, it can be something very transcendental, anything like somebody screaming at you at your job, or somebody caught you in traffic, something like that. And then we get home and we think about the experience. We are reliving it with our memories, with our minds, and we are feeling the emotions again. This is why some people this is why you shouldn't take work home, because you can think about all the emotions and all the activities you did, and then those emotions are gonna come up again. Not because you are picking up the actual information from your senses. You are picking them up from your memory, and you are creating actual emotions in real time based on that memory. We can take this a step further, and in our very own reliving of the memory, we can add things to it, either positive or negative, to make us even feel worse about something, which is, they say that a lot of people like to, that feeling of pain, they create their own pain. Or we can rationalize the experience and feel better about ourselves and make some justification about the experience, or so on. So what we are talking about is creating experience and creating a conscious process without the actual physical experience picked up by our senses. So we are creating the cognitive function and developing those emotions in real time based on a pure memory. So the whole thing comes down to, can there be consciousness without a body, without the physical world? And that is the topic of our times. This is what the whole study of consciousness is, and what happens after that. Does our consciousness keep on going on, or does it stop? We just stop, we go into oblivion, there's nothing, we see a black screen. For how long do we see this black screen? And well, before, people used to say nobody has gone to the other side, and come back to tell the story. But what we have today is that people have actually gone to the other side and they have come back to tell the story. These are called near-death experiences and are being researched at the moment. This is possible because the advancements in the medical fields, they started around the 70s with Dr. Moody, who has written a lot about it, and there's a lot of people in the field who have joined this research and are beginning to take it seriously. Of course, there's a lot of criticism, being that today's dogma is of the idea of materialism, that we are just bodies, that we just have matter and that's it, there's nothing else, there's no explanation, everything is random and everything just happened, and this is the materialist outlook on life. So there's a lot of criticism on these stories, but they are very well documented. There have been stories where people have been quote-unquote dead for days and they come back and tell a story. There are people who have no brain waves or very low brain waves, they come back and tell the story. Of course, one of the main criticisms for this is that people are still alive. They are still somewhat alive, and the quote-unquote dying brain is creating some hallucinations. Now, this is, of course, a fair argument, but the interesting situation is that, and the reason why this is actually being researched, is because the stories come back with a very clear theme, with very repeating patterns and things that repeat all over the experiences, whether regardless of where you see it. Now, I will go fully into this in the third part of the outline, where I will put all the evidence together from this and everything else that I'm talking about. But for now, I will only focus on two of the aspects of these experiences. Number one is this mystical psychosis, which was deemed as a mental illness that people experience. They experience this merging with a higher force. They experience consciousness without their body. A lot of them claim that they have out-of-body experiences where they can see the actual world, and but they're not in a body. They see it from a different perspective, and they often see their body laying wherever they being in the hospital or whatever. And some of the other stories go straight into a tunnel, or they go straight into a field, or it depends on their specific themes. This is one of the arguments against it as well, because there's it uses the expectations of the people. They see religious patterns. Some people don't see any religious patterns. They see different things, but at the end it's the same. They feel this merging with the all while being themselves at the same time. They recall feelings of love, feelings of positive energy. They often use words as undescribable, unfathomable, etc. But the thing is that they feel this larger consciousness than them, and they feel like they are part of it. They don't see themselves as their ego, as their persona. They see themselves as part of the all. We are speaking about data stacking, coming from these experiences and being documented and researched. And there's a strong correlation with one of the ancient philosophies, which is one of the largest religions in the world, which is Hinduism and Buddhism. They both have this concept of nirvana, which is very similar to what these experiences are telling us. It's this different state of consciousness where there is this merging with the all. Now, the interesting part about this nirvana is that one does not have to die to achieve it. According to the story of the Buddha, he achieved it when he achieved enlightenment. That is when he gained this greater state of consciousness where he sort of gave up his ego and meshed with the all. We also have references of these experiences coming from astral projections, or what they are known today as out-of-body experiences. And we also have the current research on entheogens, mainly DMT, which is showing the same results most of the time. And this is the same feeling of merging with the all, of being part of something larger than our egos, than our single-pointed frame of reference from our individual consciousness. So what we have here is a very defined theme, a very defined pattern that is coming from being induced in different ways, from death, from deep meditation, from the use of entheogens, or from a natural phenomena. These are conscious experiences. This is perception without a body in a non-physical state. And as the data keeps stacking, it becomes an objective rather than a subjective topic. This is why we have research at the moment on this subject. And this is only one of the factors that happen during these experiences, this merging with the all. The other factors that are being referenced by the people who have these experiences and that are present in the ancient philosophies could open an endless array of possibilities to what truly lies on non-physical consciousness. If you're on the path of finding the truth about reality and our purpose as humans on Earth, the information that I have to share concerns you. After a lifetime of research in philosophies ranging from Buddhism to the occult, I've encountered themes and patterns along some baffling information that is beginning to be seriously studied by science. A Rational Divine Outline, The Ghost of Jesus, is the first iteration of this project, where I analyze the message of Jesus without dogmatism, fanaticism, or religious bias. You can find my work available on Amazon on the link below. If you find this work valuable, consider subscribing, sharing, and following me on social media, as it'll help others in the same path to find this information. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.